Alrighty, we are live. Okay, guys. Welcome. Jared's our first one on board today. Okay, before we get started again, guys, I got to go with the usual spiel. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the like button while you're on there. Just hit it right now. It's right there in front of you. Share if you can. Maybe, go ahead and comment during the live, and you can comment after the live if you want to. We will see your comments. Okay, all righty. So Jared starts out with, I don't care what anybody says. I'm chugging that Hawkeye Kool-Aid. I predicted Iowa would be a 10-2 team with a chance to make the playoffs. After all the steps this weekend, they still can.
I'm with you, Jared.
And honestly, what I wasn't thinking about when I said I thought the playoffs would be out for them was the fact that if they do run the table, they will only have one Big Ten loss. I don't know if that will count toward the playoffs, but it will definitely count where they finish in the Big Ten standings. And so, but however, guys, this was one that we need to flush and just put away and get it over it. Cade looked pretty solid in the first half. Our field goal kicker, who was hitting a 55-yarder and 58-yarders in warm-ups, missed a 51-yarder, but not by much. Field goal, so that could have been 7-3 at halftime. That's my positive take for the game for the day. Cade's 3 in a row turnovers did not help in the second half, which led to 3 quick short field scores for Ohio State. Because I feel if we didn't turn those balls over and being down 14-0, we had a chance to come back and win that game if we don't turn the ball over and set them up for 3 consecutive touchdowns. How much easy? Ohio State's already that good that they can score touchdowns when they want to, it seems like. But, to hand it to them, gift wrapped it, and say, here's a short field chance for you to get a field goal. Not good. And we're going to talk about this. Washington's our next opponent. After watching Washington, what they did with Michigan last night, I had that 100% win before. I don't know where I'm at with that now. I feel like we can still win that game, but boy, that quarterback, he's doing amazing things. And I don't know I think he got like 270 yards last night or something like that against Michigan.
Yep.
And so, but anyway, you guys want to give some of your takeaways and stuff from the game last night, and then we can kind of move on to bigger and better things.
I love it.
Okay, go ahead, Paul, since you were here first.
All right. Well, first of all, I just want to make sure everybody can see I am rocking my Tavian Banks Jaguars throwback jersey. We finally got a win today. Yay, Jags. And they were actually wearing these jerseys today, so that was pretty cool. They were doing a throwbacks because they inducted Tom Coughlin into the Jaguars Ring of Honor Hall of Fame, whatever they call it there. So pretty cool. And as far as the Ohio State game goes, for me, you have to just take that first half and come away impressed. We were able to move the football. We didn't have a bunch of 3-and-outs. We had some takeaways on defense. We absolutely made Ohio State work. They were starting to pucker a little bit. Now, yeah, we I don't want to say we gave the game away in the second half, but as much as you can, yeah. And, yes, we didn't get on the scoreboard until, late in the game. It was kind of backups on backups, or at least it was, maybe backups on
KJ. Yeah, it was backups on backups.
But Dean and I were chatting kind of pre-show. There's guys on Ohio State's second team that would start at almost any other Big Ten school. They are a roster loaded with 4 and 5 stars. when they have a 5-star go down, they just bring another 5-star in or high 4-star. I mean, their roster is that deep. And Dean and I, again, we were talking about, Iowa has a handful of legit NFL prospects right now. Ohio State has 30 on their roster. I mean, they're full two deeps. Both sides of they could have guys drafted that aren't even playing. They may be late draft picks or whatever. But the point is, if it was an amazing coaching job to me, I thought we had a good game plan. I thought, overall I think we had Ohio State nervous. And before, Vanderbilt upsets Alabama, and before Tennessee loses, and before some of that 7-0 halftime score had people looking, right? I mean, they got people's attention.
Mm-hmm. Were you surprised that USC came back and beat Michigan? I mean, actually, they kind of led most of the game anyway.
What are you talking about?
Well, I consider that part of an upset because I just didn't think
But
USC
you said
could beat me.
You said USC and Michigan.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant Washington. Washington. Never mind.
I picked Washington. You saw my picks. I picked Washington to beat Michigan.
Actually, I think I have you down for Michigan. If I wrote that down wrong, I apologize.
Well, we have it in text form, so I'll go back and prove it to you. I know dang well I wouldn't pick against Washington.
All right.
So I like Washington, and I liked Washington to beat Michigan, just like I liked Minnesota to beat USC. This is what people don't understand is these West Coast teams do not have the interior, right? Mm-hmm. They don't. They have the 4 or 5-star skill position players, but they are weak where it counts in the Big Ten. USC has no idea what they're in for, and now they got Penn State. Washington, same thing. Like these teams on the West Coast don't have linemen, period.
And right? we're going to see if their style of play is going to work well in Kinnick and in the Big House and in the Shoe in late November games when it's 25-mile-an-hour winds and 30-degree wind chills and things like that. You've got to be able to run the ball and play defense.
Yeah. I watched that game again today. It was not Leicester's best game. I don't understand some of the things. Like if I was actually live, if I wasn't like not feeling well during, like they're literally. This is going to kind of annoy me to even talk about, but to give you guys what I was watching, like there was times where they literally played man-to-man defense and sent the safety, right? There literally was nobody back. And yet we're still trying to run all these short, like out routes, and they're playing outside. There's one play that in particular where they sent the safety, and Wetjen, the guy was playing outside of Weegen. I don't know how to say his name. I apologize.
You're fine.
Weegen, and he kept trying to go outside, which is where the air raid comes in, and why I love the air raid so much. You would literally read that. The quarterback and receiver would read that, okay, the out route's not going to work, so we're going to take them inside. That's why the air raid is so hard to stop. Well, all they had to do is run mesh. If you guys don't know what mesh is crossing routes. You need to run man beaters. We don't have any man beaters. At least we didn't against Ohio State, right? It just drove me out. Cade had no shot. Everybody can blame Cade all they want to. He legit had no shot. And it's because of the receivers. It's because of the play calling. And, of course, the line struggled, right, against him as well. But literally when Cade had a little bit of time, we're running silly routes against man coverage. I mean, when we have our true freshman receiver who weighs 100 pounds trying to go out and take on a corner and just throw him to the ground, right? Then one of his picks was that literally thing happened. where Cade was just trying to get rid of it because he was being rushed. So he just kind of threw it out there, hoping for an incomplete pass or something. And our receiver is not even close to being strong enough to handle a physical corner. So
yeah, he got a welcome to the Big Ten yesterday.
We don't run routes to beat man coverage. I mean, it's just our best receiver against man would be Weegen, right? He is so fast, he is open a lot, and we just don't throw him the ball, right? But when they're playing man coverage and they're blitzing everybody, just send him on a freaking drag route. A drag route's not even like a slant where you can actually cover a slant if you can manhandle the receiver. A drag, you're taking that hard step inside and running across the field. You can't jam a drag route. Those were the simplest of plays that Lester needed to run. I haven't seen much mesh. We ran mesh with the tight ends, I remember once. But other than that, I haven't seen it out of the wide receiver, which makes zero sense. We don't run any man beaters. Yeah.
By the way, while we're on this too, another positive I thought from yesterday was that Vanderzee, once again, I thought he played pretty well. He got open, he got the football. He showed he belonged on the field with those guys.
Well, he belongs on the field, but he's not strong enough.
Well, he's a true freshman.
Right. No, that's my point. My point is we're having a true freshman try to go out there against press man.
Right.
And one of the interceptions was literally their corner pushing Vanderzee to the ground.
Yeah. That should have been PI. But
I mean, it was close, but Vanderzee also lost his footing, if you noticed. He was falling back, and it was because of the physical play.
It could have at least been illegal contact.
I don't know if they had that in college.
Okay.
Because then
what I want to know.
Right.
No, go ahead. I'm going to let you finish. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say to Paul, in the NFL, he's 100% accurate. It would have been illegal contact because you can't hit them past 5 yards. I don't think they have that in college, right? I think in college, it's when the ball is in the air is when it counts. That's illegal. If the ball has been thrown and you do it, then it's illegal contact. But in this case, the ball was actually tipped as well. So Iowa had two things going against them on that exact play. The ball was tipped, and the moment the ball's tipped, you can literally lay out the receiver without using your head, right? You can hit them, push them to the ground, whatever, when the ball's tipped.
Okay, now I want to talk about something else that it's an NFL rule, but apparently not in college. The way they were beating down on Cade yesterday, just hitting him hard and throwing him to the ground. Well, I know in the NFL that's automatically a penalty, but not in college.
That's not the penalty. The penalty was when they were landing on him.
Mm-hmm.
In the NFL, you can hit him and knock him to the ground, but you can't land on him with your body weight.
Right.
Like Cade was getting flattened, like they were just landing on him, like 300 pounds.
Getting no help from the referees, but it must be legal.
One or two occasions where there was some contact above the shoulders and some helmet to helmet. That if they wanted to, they could have thrown those flags. They could have. It wouldn't have been egregiously wrong if they did.
Yeah. Well, somebody we all know is very well thinks that Ohio State is the flagship of the Big Ten, and the Big Ten wasn't going to throw those flags against them.
But make no mistake. Iowa didn't lose because of the officiating. They lost because Ohio State's 22 is better than Iowa's 22. But Ohio State's 22 is better than all but about 4 other teams in the country, right? They're a top 5 roster.
Yeah. Okay, let's get to a couple of these questions. Let me catch up before we move on.
We can't see it, Coach.
I'm trying to show Dean that I picked Washington.
Oh, you were talking. I saw that you did. I got it. All right. Okay. Okay. I do have a question why we don't throw to Luke Lachey more. They threw to him, I don't know how many times, but he did catch it 5 times for 39 yards. So it looked to me like they got him pretty well involved yesterday. And he was our top receiver yesterday.
From what I'm seeing, what defenses are doing is they are playing man on the outside and they are trying to take away Lachey and KJ. Right? They're basically saying, we don't think McNamara and your receivers can beat us, and that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. Okay. Calvin is pointing out that a mock draft has 10 Ohio State people in the top 100. Iowa has KJ at 74 and Yaya Black at 88.
There you go.
Casey, I mean, I agree with you. They should. Lachey is a physical specimen, right? You're not gonna man him up. He's really big. You can man him up with your speed, but he can box you out, right? There's just things that we and I don't know, maybe it was just like last year at Penn State. Kirk, that game plan was all Kirk's. You remember the fair catches on everything special teams, the defense playing 7-8 yards back the whole game, and then the offense. I mean, that was all conservative Kirk's game plan. Maybe this week was the same. That stupid timeout on that punt was just, it had to be there for him to do it. So people upstairs, everybody had to see that there was a hole right there that they were going to get it. But Kirk just, at the last second, his butt puckered, and he's like, oh, timeout, I don't like it, I don't like it. You know, it's like me when I see a freaking can of worms. Ugh, I don't like it. Like, that's what it was with
he just chickened out. He you know, and then he explained in his interview, well, I saw a couple linebackers sneak up, so I called the timeout.
No, he didn't. They weren't there. They were in his imagination.
I know, but he had to come up with a reason why he called the timeout, because he totally blew it. Because
there was
those guys made it. They had a successful.
There was a hole perfect for what they were doing.
Yeah.
If it was 4th and 5, yeah, it wasn't going to work. But it was 4th and like 1 or 2, and it was like right there for the take.
Actually, I think it was like a half a foot. They remeasured the ball.
Yeah,
like a half a foot line.
Whatever it was, I'm just saying it was there for the taking.
It was.
You know, but again, that's still not the reason Iowa lost the football game.
No.
Did he chicken out there, you know, at the last moment? Yeah. I guess my thing is, I don't understand why we took the timeout, right? Well, okay, he didn't like the play, so he called the timeout there. But I'm just like, I guess there's no way to call it off without the timeout. If you were going to end up punting anyway, take the delay.
Take the 5. Take the delay game. But they were going to snap the ball. And what he didn't want was the snap. But I'm with Jerry. I'm still going Iowa over Washington.
Yeah.
And you'll have your opportunity at the end of this podcast to.
Well, I'm just going through the questions. You just seem to fly through them, and we didn't answer any of the questions.
Yeah.
I mean, you went right through them all, and I was reading them, but we didn't talk about them.
Oh, okay. Well, this one goes. I already asked Jason this question, but I want others' opinion. Is it time for a QB change? If no, then when should there be a change, except for injury? I'm not ready to throw Cade under the bus yet and put Sullivan in full time. I like the way we're using Sullivan. I would think that if Cade continues to turn the ball over and give up touchdowns because of it,
which you
know, then and it costs us wins, yeah, then maybe it's time then to see what Sullivan can do running the team with the first team against the first team out in the field. But right now, no. I mean, Cade had a bad game. He had a good game at the beginning, a bad game. But the only thing I don't like about Cade right now is his either can't or is willing not to throw past the first down markers. And why, I don't know.
He did throw some passes over the middle and stuff. I think he converted.
He is throwing down the field sometimes, but he's got to have the time. Yeah. I think the biggest thing is having time. That's why. Mm-hmm. He's thrown the ball down the field a few times, but it's usually over the middle.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that Ohio State defense, that Ohio State roster is loaded with NFL guys, all 22, all 11 offensive guys, all 11 defensive guys. Will have their time in the league. Will some of them have longer careers than others? Of course, but I think all 22 stand a chance of being on a NFL roster.
Okay.
There's
And
something. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah,
I thought you were-
I just think that to say, is it time to pull Cade or I don't. Cade is part of the problem, but he's not the problem.
Casey, I don't know if you could type out. I don't know what you're thinking, but your thing about Sullivan, I really don't understand. What did you like that you saw, other than the zone read where the whole defense went for the running back? Sullivan didn't complete a pass. He wouldn't even throw the ball. One time he literally just ran out of bounds against their backups. So I mean, I'm not sure what you liked in Sullivan. Like, he just looks lost. The only good play he did was that 30-yard run, which it was a zone read where the defense just flew to the running back, and then it was just a wide open. All he did was run.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of curious about that comment because
I didn't see
he
Casey's
looked
comment
just
about
like I thought he
Sullivan.
would.
Can I put that back up? Where's it at?
Yeah. The other nice thing is that at 35-0, we did see a backup quarterback, because go back to last year, no matter how ugly and disgusting and horrible and in any other negative word you can come up with about what the offense was doing with Deacon Hill, we never saw anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. The only way Cade's not going to play this year is the rest of the year is if he gets injured. But, I did say that if he went through a couple of more games like he did yesterday and gave away touchdowns and wins, then maybe. But, Kirk is still Kirk. And, Jerry's got a point. What gets me is Kirk keeps saying that the Cade's improving. He's a fifth-year senior. Absolutely.
Well, he's not talking about improving as a quarterback. He's talking about health, getting back in to the groove. He's not like saying, oh, he's finally got a quarterback brain or whatever. It's his health. He's getting better every week.
Right.
And
so I will give you that he looked pretty solid in the first half. Outside of not throwing anything downfield bothered me, but he did look pretty solid.
You got to have people downfield. You can't just chuck it to nobody.
That's true. You got to run routes.
The one person who went downfield was Weegan, and Weegan, he underthrew Weegan.
Well, but did you see the scramble that he did?
Yeah.
To get the Weegan, that was it. He did everything perfect until that moment. Yeah. And then he underthrows him.
And wasn't that like his only incompletion of the first half?
Close. It was close to it.
And if he was able to get that ball up where Weegan could have caught it, that might have been 6. Like it would.
Oh, it would have been.
It was a heck of an effort all around. It just
everything was there except the execution of the throw.
Yeah.
Weegan scores a touchdown on that if he just gets it out there in front of him. Now, if he would have threw it behind him, whatever, maybe Weegan got caught. But if he throws a good throw and he's rolling to his right, like he literally had no excuses. Because a lot of quarterbacks, when you roll the opposite way of your hand, right, they'll make the excuses that it's just a hard throw to go the other way. But hell, he was rolling right. He's right-handed. It was basically playing catch in the backyard. I mean, that's what I don't get on that kind of stuff with Cade. I don't get, because it literally was Weegan was wide open. All he had to do was throw it to him, just like us playing catch in the backyard. There was nobody around him when he threw it. But he did have to do a lot of stuff to get to the open spot. I get all that, but that's literally a quarterback drill where you like fake in, and you go out, you roll right, and then you throw it. So there is things like that. But I am with Jerry on this. One more loss, and then Marco should play. Sullivan should play, so that way everybody could see the reality in Sullivan, and then give it to Marco the rest of the way. Marco would be the future. But give it to Sullivan because that's what the community wants. Then they could see the reality of Sullivan. He's not very good. He wasn't good at Northwestern. He's actually quite terrible at throwing the ball. And then give it to Marco and let Marco show what he can do. I do agree because one more loss, the playoffs are over. Like basically everything is. We're gonna go see Paul in the bowl game.
Right.
So
come on down.
So I mean, I agree with
guys.
Jerry.
I want to throw something in here.
If we have any football stadiums left standing here in Florida by that time,
Yeah, true. But I want to point something out too when we're talking about that even a 2-loss Iowa could be in the mix. we've got some teams that nobody considered at the beginning of the year in the mix right now. Indiana and Illinois, and maybe even Rutgers. So, we're thinking that Iowa just has to get up in the top 3 to 4 to be considered. But that's going to be a challenge with the other teams that are going on right now.
That's a good thing. It's going to be a challenge but you want your schedule to be good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You want, if Iowa State goes undefeated, if these are Iowa's only losses,
Mm-hmm.
you know how good that's going to look on their schedule. And with Washington being on the schedule, beating Michigan,
Mm-hmm.
right? The Iowa schedule is looking tougher and tougher, but that's a good thing.
Right.
That's the only way we're going to get into the top 12, top 11, because the 12th would be Boise State probably. But top 11 is with the schedule showing. And if Iowa, the teams that Iowa lost to end the season 24-0, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Ohio State goes undefeated, Iowa State goes undefeated. That's going to bring that strength of schedule so high. Washington's going to keep winning, like against other teams. They're going to obviously run in. I think Iowa's going to beat them. And if they play Ohio State, they're going to get beat by Ohio State. But Iowa's schedule is, look, Nebraska keeps winning. So that might be the playoff game or the Big Ten championship game at the end of the year to see which team gets in. Because if Iowa can
pretty good against Purdue.
Yeah, but everybody's looking good against Purdue. You can't let me pick. You can't let me pick Purdue anymore. They fired Graham Harrell anyway, so I won't be picking Purdue. But
Graham Harrell, is he the coach?
He's
their offensive. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
He was.
And let me guess. He does not get to finish the season.
No, he's gone.
You know what that was a dig on. Okay.
I do.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Cade's not mobile quarterback. But he does come out of the pocket okay and scramble enough to
he showed some of his. We just discussed some of his mobility.
Yeah,
he has it in him when he has a chance.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's see. This one I put up earlier because he was talking about. At that time, he typed that we were talking about the improvement part. And, yeah, I admit I probably took that wrong. Okay. Who is the only Iowa QB to lead Iowa 2 points against a top 10 team?
Petrus is the last one.
Well, I thought there's more than one, right?
Well, there's a lot more than one. So I don't know.
He wants to know who's the only Iowa QB.
I think he's trying to say Sullivan yesterday. I think that's the point he's trying to make.
Oh, he probably means in recent years.
Which Sullivan didn't lead it. He handed off to KJ.
And KJ did the rest.
Yeah, and KJ did the rest.
Mm-hmm.
But that zone read, literally everybody went with the running back. So Sullivan, Cade would have done it too. He wouldn't have went 30 yards, but he would have done it too because everybody went to the running back on that zone read. That zone read was literally a run. Yeah, I mean, that's the one play Sullivan looked good is when the whole defense went for the running back. Man, I watched that play 10 times today.
Didn't he pass for like 20 yards too?
No, he didn't even complete a pass.
I got him 1 for 12.
Who did he throw it to?
I forget. All right. Anybody remember out there who he threw that ball to? He did complete one pass.
No, he was. I don't know who he threw it to, but he was 1 for 12 yards. I don't know who he completed it to, but.
Okay. Well, guys, do you think we've talked out enough of Ohio State and we kind of want to talk about some other games that maybe were of interest yesterday? You know, like Alabama being upset, Tennessee being upset. Who else got upset yesterday? Oh, and one thing I want to point out, it is possible for teams without big money and without 5-star people to beat another team if you put your heart and soul into it and have a good game plan. As what was the name of the team that beat the
Vanderbilt.
yeah, Vanderbilt? On nobody's radar.
Okay, yeah. I mean, a blind squirrel finds a nut, right? Like,
Yeah.
yes. I mean, anything's possible, right? That's why they play the games, you know. But at the same time, if Alabama and Vanderbilt played 100 times, Alabama probably wins that 99 times. You know, and also, you know, let's factor in Alabama was coming off their big win over Georgia, right? I mean,
You think it was a hangover?
possible. And again, when people want to bang on Ferentz about, oh, you know, whatever, understand winning football games is hard. Even if you're Alabama and you're playing Vanderbilt, winning football games is hard. And so, you know, when all Kirk does is win 8, 9, 10 games a year and whatever, that just shows how difficult it is to get these kids in the right frame of mind and ready to play every week.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Hink says he threw it to a tight end on the run, so I'm going to say that was Lachey.
Yeah, he threw it
Because he
to
was
a
the
tight
only
end.
he's the only tight end that caught a pass.
Yeah, he did. He threw it to a tight end.
Had 3 quarters to score and didn't. I agree, Jerry.
Against the starting Ohio State team.
Yeah.
The fact we're making a big deal about Sullivan scoring against the second and third stringers, the freshman on Ohio State, is just baffling to me. I mean, he came in, and like I said, yeah, he did a zone read that was wide open. The C's open. He ran 30 yards. He literally just ran straight. He didn't have to juke anybody. He didn't have to do anything because of the play call. Everybody went after the running back. And then the very next play, they gives it to KJ. You know why KJ got open finally? Because they were going against the 2s and 3s of Ohio State. KJ finally broke loose because they were going against the 2s and 3s. I mean, this is not tough. It makes 0 sense to be like, oh, he should be the starter. He scored against the second and third stringers. I mean,
I agree with Hink on this one.
Yes. A lot of them would start out.
No, they wouldn't. They're freshmen. They're sophomores. They're young. They would not start in Iowa.
Maybe not on defense.
They would not start on defense. You know what might start? The quarterback might start. No, it's Brown. Brown's not very good. He wouldn't start.
I bet you it's possible some of their
running backs would play. The receivers would start.
Yes.
But the Ohio State defense would not start for Iowa. The backup defense would not start for Iowa.
I bet you 1 or 2 of their second string corners could start opposite Harris.
That's false, Hank. Had nothing to do with the threat to run. That's not what broke it open. Oh my God.
I love it. I love the controversy. I love it. I mean,
it's just silly. It's just silly. That had nothing to do with why KJ got loose. Oh my God. Look at the play call. They weren't worried about the quarterback running on. Look at the play call. It was not his zone read that got him loose. There was no fake of the run with the quarterback. It wasn't like they went back to the zone read, and this time the quarterback gave it to the running back. Yeah. I mean, no. Then they would not start for Iowa's defense.
Well, this is sad. Just about everybody's dropped off except for 2 people. I don't know who we're talking to. Who's still out there listening, watching?
Hank and Kelvin, probably.
Yeah. Okay, so let's do this. Let's start talking about Washington next week this week, Saturday. What we need to do to win, what do they bring to the table, and are they a better team than we originally thought? Or was the Michigan win that they had yesterday was kind of like, well, this team lost to Michigan in the national title game last year, so we're going to bring everything we've got, including the kitchen sink type thing.
No. It's all new players and a new coaching staff. So, I mean, I don't think that had anything to do with it.
This isn't Michigan. right? This is not your old Michigan. This Michigan team can't throw,
Right.
right? I mean, that's a huge thing. They couldn't throw, and they didn't even try to run the ball hardly. Like, it was just the weirdest game plan for Michigan. It was like they thought they were just going to win, and they got tired of winning by running the football. They weren't patient. This kind of reminds me of the old Matt Campbell era with Iowa. You know, he had those NFL running backs averaging 5 yards a carry against Iowa, but he kept throwing the ball and throwing interceptions. Michigan had the weirdest game plan against Washington. They didn't keep trying. They didn't keep trying to run the football. They kept trying to throw it, and they can't throw it. It was just the weirdest game plan. If Iowa actually goes into the game with the same game plan as Michigan, Iowa loses to Washington. If they go into the game thinking we got to throw the football, then they're not going to beat Washington. They got to do what they do best, and I think they will, obviously.
Also, keep in mind, this was a night game at Washington, which is not an easy place to play. That's pretty tough stadium to win in.
I agree.
And then, like we were saying, this is not your father's Michigan. This isn't last year's Michigan team.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. Yeah.
I will tell you one thing. I wish, in all honesty, that I had talked my grandson into letting me buy those tickets for Saturday's Washington game. I've only seen one loss inside of Kinnick Stadium, and that was to the North Dakota State team. And so I need to bring Iowa good luck against Washington.
And also keep in mind, too, that Michigan team survived Minnesota at home.
Exactly.
Right? I mean,
yes.
They are – Iowa and Michigan are very similar. I think that, they should both maybe be bottom of the top 25 or just outside the top 25 in rankings, both of them.
Washington and who?
No, Michigan and Iowa.
Oh, okay, Michigan and Iowa.
Right now.
Well, we are kind of similar in that our quarterbacks aren't producing a lot, and our run game is what's carrying us. And as Michigan found out yesterday, without a passing game, you're not going to beat teams like Washington. So we need to develop a passing game. I hope Kirk learned anything is to make sure that Lester's working on our passing game for.
I just told you, though, that's not why Michigan lost. They lost it because they did not try to run the football. Okay. They were trying to throw the football. They were literally – remember, that's why I just said is their game plan was just very strange. It's like they listened to the media saying, oh, we got to throw the football. We better – no, run the football first and see if they can stop it, right? See, you got to at least challenge them to stop what you're good at. But I agree with Hank here. Give me Rocco Beck. I mean, Rocco is really good. I mean, I'd rather have Marco, but Rocco Beck right now is really good, but he's also had a chance. And Iowa State gave him a chance as a true freshman, and it's paying off right now.
Yeah. Iowa State has a habit of getting a better quarterback that can throw the ball, got great wide receivers, usually a good tight end, and solid running game. And as far as skill positions, you can look at Iowa State's and see how many they got in the NFL over Iowa's skilled positions.
They have a couple of running backs. They have Hall and I forget the other one.
Yeah, the only position really, they do have a wide receiver, Lazard.
Oh, yeah.
But for the most part, their positions, they do have two running backs. Iowa had Goodson today. Goodson's a third stringer. He's not a starter. Mm-hmm. But I think both teams, as far as skill positions, they're really close.
Yeah. And if you throw tight end in the mix.
Oh, yeah. If you throw tight end, Iowa dominates the tight end spot, obviously.
Yeah. Well, let me catch up a little bit on these comments. Also, still bring in Statue, the kid from California, Pro Style QB. He's referring to Cash Herrera. I like the idea of Cash Herrera coming to Iowa. I mean, everybody wants these dual threat quarterbacks, but if the pro style works, why not use it? I mean, because these guys can also get out of the pocket and run, out of the pocket and scramble for, to help get these guys. I know everybody wants a quarterback that can keep running and extend the play. I get that. We haven't had that since Brad Banks.
We had CJ Beathard who could do it.
CJ Beathard, but he wasn't Brad Banks. He wasn't Brad
no.
Banks. But CJ could extend plays. Yes, he could.
So could you, Tate. We've had a couple.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, but yeah, and I like the name Cash. I would love for him to be a starter at Iowa one day, and so we can talk about Cash, the quarterback.
Can I tell you something that's going to happen, even when I'm dead and gone?
Okay.
Cash is going to transfer out of Iowa. He's not going to be here. He's not going to do it. It's going to be. Marco's going to probably transfer too, but so it's going to end up being that kid from Florida, and he's going to have it for a while.
Reeser.
He'll redshirt this year, and then, I mean, that dude is grease lightning fast. And if Lester stays around, if Kirk stays around, Rezer's going to have a hell of a career with Lester, because the Lester is what Lester wants.
Mm-hmm.
Like Sully is half. Sully can't throw the football. Sully is half of what Lester wants, is somebody that can move.
Right.
Marco can do it too, but Marco's a better thrower than a runner.
Yeah.
Sully's only number 2 because of all the Marco's gone. I agree. But Sully's only number 2 because of the media and everything else. Everybody, I mean, it's funny. He goes in the portal. Nobody wants Sullivan. No, he didn't pee on my Cheerios. He just isn't very good. And it drives me insane. Marco is the guy. But Sully didn't pee on my Cheerios. He just isn't very good. I watched him I evaluated him out of high school. He's exactly what I thought he was at Northwestern. He can't throw the football, and he could barely run. I mean, he could run a little bit of straight line speed, but you saw him he's clumsy too. He does some clumsy things. Just a week ago or 2 weeks ago before the bye week, he just literally tripped over his own feet trying to get out of the pocket.
We saw that. Minnesota when he went in for mop-up duty.
This love for Sullivan is.
Yeah. Well, I want to really get to the Washington game. We're running out of time, and we may have to go a little over. I hope you guys are okay with that. But let me read these real quick, and then we're going to move on. Will anyone give Ohio State a game until playoff? I say no. They will beat Oregon, Penn State, and Michigan handily. I agree with that comment.
I think Penn State has the athletes to push Ohio State a little bit. I mean, look at what Iowa did. We pushed them for a half. I think Penn State could hang in there.
Yeah. I mean,
Terry wants to know, Jason, did Sully piss in
That's
your
what
Wheaties?
I just answered. Yeah, that's what I just answered. No, he's just not very good. I'm a quarterback guy. I mean, he didn't pee on my Cheerios. He just isn't good.
Okay.
Marco is gone. I agree. If things don't change, Marco's gone. I agree.
Yes, I think everybody agrees with that.
The Sullivan kid from Indiana.
Oh, the Jimmy Sullivan. I hear he's lighting it up in his final high school year.
Yep. He's looking good too.
Okay. Memo to the world: transfer QBs will be the future at every school. Only if you got like $1 million.
What's he saying?
I mean, and I say that like you want to get a good one, like Ohio State picked up a Kansas State quarterback. I'm sure this kid got $1 million for coming there.
Oh, easy.
They said 20 million, Hank, on the broadcast. The fact they talk about it.
They
talk about it.
Yeah. And I think Iowa's total NIL value is probably about 200,000, maybe.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean.
Yeah, that's probably true. All right, I want to get to Washington. Jason, people have asked you to talk about Washington. Do you have anything planned to talk about that you want to talk about them a little bit?
Well, no, I don't have. I mean, I can just tell you what they're going to do. Like, I can't. I mean, I don't have. Unless somebody has questions about their offense, what I could tell you is they run like half air. They're trying to do the air raid. It's not quite full air raid yet, but that's what they're working towards, and that's what Will Rogers excels at. So they're actually putting the offense to go with the quarterback, right? They told Will Rogers that we are going to run the air raid. and they're working on principles every single week. You could see that they're getting better every single week, but you're going to see a lot of man coverage from Iowa in this game. Cover 2 man under, because I believe because you can't really run zone against the air raid. You just can't, because they're going to adjust their routes off of you. So if you're in zone and they're going to see you're going to be in this zone, they're going to go the opposite way you are. Like literally you can hardly ever guess right. If the quarterback and receiver are on the same page, and this is what you saw, Dean, with last week against Michigan, that zone, they just picked that zone apart. That's because if the receiver and quarterback are on the same page, the air raid is almost impossible to beat, because they're going to go in when you go. If you're out, they're going to go in. If you're in, they're going to go out. They don't know what they're going to do when they line up. Across the board, they're not this yet, though. Washington, they're working at this. They run option routes, meaning they do have a depth. They do have what they're going to do. Like it's either going to be a skinny post, it's going to be a post, or it's going to be a slant, just to kind of tell you at all levels. Yeah, you can add an extra 0.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Well, okay, I want to ask a question. Can we slow down Rodgers?
Sure.
I know at least 1 or 2 teams have, because they've lost 2 games. So Washington State, and I forget who they lost to in the Big Ten.
They lost to Rutgers.
Okay.
That's a game that you saw that he threw for 300. And Rutgers didn't slow him down until he got into the red zone.
Okay.
So
then the defense took over.
Yeah, and that's where you can play zone, is in the red zone when the field's really small against the air raid, right? I don't expect Iowa to run a lot of zone out in the open space. So, yeah, you can. They're going to slow him down. I think they will. Pass rush, I'm hoping we see some more of Jackson blitzing like he did against Minnesota. We didn't even see that last week. Like, that's why I wonder if it's not a Kirk game plan last week. It's the silliest thing, I know, but it almost looked a lot like the Penn State game the year before, where they were just, and it was working in the first half. Don't get me wrong. Everything was just simple, right? It wasn't, and everything was played back. If Ohio State doesn't make those 2 mistakes in the first half, it could have been 21-0, right? They fumbled. I think he threw a pick, right?
Yeah.
Was the pick in the first half?
Yeah.
So,
Whose pick? Ours or theirs?
Theirs.
I think it was first half.
It was Castro.
Yeah, Castro.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It was Castro on the corner route. No, you're 100% right. It was right before half. So, yeah, see, those 2 turnovers helped Iowa, right? But they didn't try to put pressure on. They didn't even challenge their own DBs to like pressure, right? Let's send 6 guys and just see what happens. Can we get to him before he gets? There were so many times where he was back there just having a cup of tea, maybe some pound cake. He was sitting back there forever, and it was like,
that's great. It was just, I love it.
They used 6 guys to block 4. Right, on a lot. They used their tight end to stay in and block, and he had all day. And with their receivers, you can do that with their receivers, because if he has 4 or 5 seconds to throw the ball, their receivers are going to get open.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah. So I mean, we're going to slow down. I think we're going to slow down Rodgers in the red zone. We're going to get frustrated a lot between the 20s, like we do sometimes. This is going to be one of those games. But in the red zone, where Iowa's extremely tough, and even in the air raid offense, they're going to have to try to run the football in the red zone. If they can do that, then we will be a little bit of trouble. But if they
I expect Kinnick to come to show up too, right? That 12th man. I mean, because this is a new team, Washington, right? This isn't, Northwestern coming in, and we're coming off that second half. You know what I mean? Like, here's an opportunity for the fans to get into the game and be a part of things. I think they'll be a factor.
one thing about Kinnick is that's a real 12 man. Texas A&M likes to say it, but Kinnick is for real. We've witnessed teams have 3 or 4 false starts, delayed games, all because of the crowd. The crowd is legit a 12th man for Iowa defense, right?
The problem we're going to have from now on under this current TV contract is we're not going to get night games at Kinnick against those teams because Fox wants it for their big noon kickoff. And that's when we're at our best, when we play them under the lights in prime time. Our crowd is drunker than a skunk, helping us out. Okay. And the guys are ready. For some reason, they play better under the lights. Okay.
You're not wrong, because the last game I was to last year, I made my oldest boy mad because we had 2 guys right beside me drunker than snots, tripping and falling over. And I'm like, dude, stop. And my son's like, Dad, he hit me. Dad. I'm like, I can't handle this.
Right.
But yeah, so you're right about being drunk.
Oh,
and
I know that. I've been to many Iowa games. I know.
And
I'm not oblivious to what's going on.
I'm with Hink on this one as well. Paul, if you want to see that one, I don't know if you witnessed that. Fisher got toasted. I did not understand that.
But I don't know. What's that mean by the 3 pounds, or is that a typo?
The 3 linebackers.
Oh,
LBs.
3 linebackers.
Not
Duh. Excuse me, Hank. I'm sorry
Okay,
about that.
well, Ohio State has legit 2 NFL running backs that they were throwing at us. And so we had Fisher in there. And I think one of the times he was actually like in a man situation against one of those NFL running backs and got toasted. So, I mean, the deal is he was in there to help support or stop the run.
Mm-hmm. So I mean,
that was a good. Yeah,
we got to get back to Washington. We got to give these, because we're not going to have a midweek show, so we got to give these people some hope. What we're going to do with Washington. Okay.
Well, this isn't the first time Iowa has seen an offense like this. We played Texas Tech in the bowl game. Yeah, it's been a quarter century ago, but you know we've seen Mike Leach's offense. We've seen air raids.
Well, right. We saw a year ago was Wisconsin, right? Their air raid, even though they don't run it like a traditional air raid, but they call themselves air raid.
They were using their running back mostly.
Washington has a college roster with some, with maybe some NFL potential.
Okay.
Very similar to what Iowa has. A college roster with some NFL potential, sprinkled in. So it's not David and Goliath like we witnessed yesterday.
Yeah. So we got their running back has 601 yards on the season, so he's about 100 yards behind our guy, QD.
What they do, Dean, is they actually, this is what I mean by they're not full air raid, right? They're working into it. They're being smart by not making their players learn a system, but they're actually doing a system for the quarterback. But when they get into the red zone, maybe, Paul, this is what, I don't know if they've done this every week, but I told you about Will Rogers struggling in the red zone. But maybe, because I haven't watched every single game like all the time, but they do exactly what we do with Sullivan. They bring in somebody else in the red zone, and then they don't score. So they do take Rodgers out of the game when they get down there. I just noticed that against Michigan, right? So they do bring in another quarterback that they use exactly the same way we do Sullivan in the red zone. But they use him. Go ahead.
They have some good players on their team, but they don't have linebackers as good as Higgins and Jackson. I don't think they have a defensive back as good as Castro. They don't think they have a tight end as good as Lachey. So I think there's some positions. Dean wanted something we can add. I think we have some players on our team that are actually, would start at Washington as compared to yesterday, where I don't think we have a single guy on our roster that would hands down be a starter at Ohio State.
Other than, I think Higgins would.
Well, maybe Higgins, yeah.
I think Higgins would. But, I mean, you're not wrong. Harris probably does too. And Harris, he played well yesterday. He really did.
Yeah.
I just wish he would have got that pick 6. I don't know if
Right.
you guys remember that one where he got in front. If that ball was on target, that was house the other way.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're right. Like, there's literally, if you went across the board and said who has the best positions, I mean, they have a better quarterback. That's not even close. But we have a better offensive line. We have better tight ends. They do have better receivers. But they don't have a speedster, so we don't have to worry about that like Ohio State. They don't even have one as fast as like Weegen, right? We don't even use our speed, which drives me insane.
Right.
We have a better defensive line. We have better linebackers. I mean, realistically, across the board, Iowa has better at every position against Washington, except the quarterback.
And we have that 12th man.
So if we'd have played Michigan this year, we probably would beat them again, like we used to.
I think it'd be competitive, right? I think we'd be in a good game with Michigan.
I mean, if they used the same game plan they did against Washington, we'd smoke them. If they tried throwing against Iowa's defense like they were doing Washington, I mean, like I said, Michigan's game plan didn't make any dang sense against Washington. We're going to pound it. I don't see us listening to the media. Kirk never listens to the media.
He never does. He doesn't. He doesn't.
We don't have to worry about that. So
we don't have to worry about that. Kirk is on my. Well, let's go over.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, let's go over our picks that we made, and I got new ones ready for you guys.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Casey or Paul, did you see what Casey wrote for you?
Yes, thank you, Casey. Hopefully we'll be all right. So.
Yeah, I was looking at the path, and this one looks even more or less away from you than the first one.
Yeah, this one's gonna be more of a direct hit towards us.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Is that going up the coast?
It's gonna just shoot straight across the state, and we're gonna get pretty good.
Hink's with me. He goes, I wish we'd play Michigan or USC this year. I don't think either team is that good.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's proven out
every week, Hink.
I think it's proven out. It's proven out. Okay. Paul, do you want to tell Hink where you're located?
Jacksonville, Florida.
Look at the jersey. You want to show your jersey again to everybody?
Yeah. So this is a legit throwback Tavian Banks Jaguars jersey. This one is just a replica, but I actually do have an authentic one right over here in the closet.
Yes, so. I do have a Drew Tate jersey, but I realized lately that I don't fit into it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can't really. This is my hometown. That's what I have. I have a shirt for my hometown, but my hometown's black and yellow as well, so it works.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I'm with you, Kelvin. Why would any coach listen to the media? But if you watch that Washington-Michigan game, it sure felt like they were listening to the media whining about them not throwing the football because the game plan was just weird.
That's what it sounded like. The coach says, okay, let's go out there and throw the football. Let's do that.
Yeah, and they don't have a quarterback. They're in worse position than Iowa at quarterback.
Yeah. Okay, that's why I want to play them. Okay.
Right.
So we all picked Oregon. We all picked Wisconsin, and Wisconsin just smoked them. I was stupid enough to pick South Carolina. You guys got me on that one. Ole Miss won. And you guys both picked Ole Miss. We both picked we all picked Boise State. Paul and I picked Michigan. You got Washington. We all picked USC. We all picked Iowa State. Yeah, we all picked Iowa State. We all picked Indiana. I picked Texas A&M, so I got one over you two, and you guys picked Ole Miss. Or Missouri, I'm sorry. I just wrote Miss on there, so.
By the way, congrats to Indiana. They are the only bowl eligible team in the country. So
yeah, they are. They're 6-0.
That's pretty amazing. Their schedule is ranked 110th. But I don't care. It's Indiana.
It's
They're
Indiana.
6-0.
Their coach will not be long for that job.
Yeah, right. I don't care what their schedule rank is. They're 6-0.
Right.
Said Jason picked Minnesota. No,
No.
we all picked USC.
I was going back and forth with it, Kelvin, but I didn't pull the trigger because I'm an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
I pulled the trigger on Washington, but I could not pull the trigger on Minnesota because I don't trust PJ Fleck. But the game pretty much went how I thought it would. And I did not follow through with it. I didn't have the balls. I didn't have the cojones to do it.
Okay, so we did 11 games yesterday because Paul and I, of course, got the Ohio State right. Jason took Iowa loss. So I went 8-3. You both went 7-4. Current season record is 46-9 for me, 34-21 for Paul, and 40-15 for Jason. I mean, I'm actually feeling pretty good. I'm a full 6 games up on you, Jason, and you were the champion last year.
Well, I went out on that branch with Paul one weekend and really screwed myself.
Yeah.
I pick Purdue every week because of Graham Harrell. I mean, I was picking some doozies.
Okay, let's go on to the new picks that I chose.
Hank, if you
Kelvin did pick Baylor.
Oh, Kelvin picked Baylor. Purdue, yeah. Hank, if you have a time, like I don't know what you do or whatever, watch the Washington-Michigan game. You should be able to find it on YouTube, or if you record all the games like I do, you'll see. Watch Washington. Watch what they do. I mean, it's a pretty good air raid between the 20s.
Yeah. Washington's actually a fun team to watch.
You know, there's
they
a
play
lot of
Iowa,
teams,
then they need to get smoked.
air raid or not, there's a lot of teams that have success between the 20s against Iowa. But then, we do a really good job of
But yep.
bend but don't break.
What's that called? Where the pressure, what's a bow construct? A construct, right?
Yeah.
Constrictor.
Right.
We constrict things when it gets into the red zone. Iowa's really good at that.
Okay, so you guys that are online, feel free to tell your picks that you would do like you did last week. Texas at Oklahoma, I took Texas. Jason?
Will Rogers is my guy, Kelvin. Yeah, I'm with you. Texas, I don't even know what the teams are, but I'm picking Texas. Don't do that.
They're playing. They're playing the Red River Shootout. That's the one where they play at the Texas State Fair.
Give me the Longhorns.
Yeah.
Okay, I got them too. Okay.
Actually, you know what? This is probably dumb on my part.
Oh, he's on the limb.
But weird things happen in rivalry games, and even weirder things happen in this Red River Shootout.
Yeah.
But I'm still taking Texas.
Okay. Oh. Way to go, Paul. I'm about ready to switch it for you. We got Penn State at USC. Paul, your turn to go first.
I'm going to take Penn State, but I don't have a lot of faith in the pick.
Okay.
Just their coach's record. Well, wait a minute. USC, they're not going to be ranked, are they? Like their record in road games against ranked teams is like not good.
Oh,
but,
no.
No, you're right.
I'll take Penn State. But
but in my opinion, Penn State, it's one of those games where Penn State could literally run the ball on every down, and USC won't have a chance in hell.
Yeah.
And they're not going to do it. They have a good quarterback. They have good receivers. They're number 7. That white boy is good. Or is he number 2? He's either number 2 or number 7, but he is extremely – he's their slot receiver. He is really good. He's a big dude. And but, I mean, I legit think Penn State they're just going to beat up on USC's interior line. The front 7 is going to get ate up.
Okay, Ole Miss at LSU.
Who'd you pick, Dean?
Oh, I picked Penn State. I'm
starting to think you wait till the games are over and say, okay, I picked it. Oh, we
wait a minute. I want to show you. Mine's are all filled in. already. I filled all mine in all the way to the bottom. There you
Oh,
go.
look at you. You're getting sophisticated with this.
Right.
I wish I had more of a technology use. I would be.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So
I wish I was better.
what's the next game that you said Ole Miss and somebody?
Oh yeah, Ole Miss, which I took against LSU. They'll be at LSU.
Ooh.
Do we know when the game is taking place? Because Death Valley at night is a whole different animal than a noon kick or a 3:30 kick.
My question to you is that hurricane going through Louisiana?
No.
Okay. I don't know. I haven't. I don't have the time down. If somebody wants to look it up, feel free.
I'm looking it up.
Okay. 6:30.
That's probably Central, so that's 7:30 Eastern, so it's going to be at night. I'll take the Tigers at home to pull kind of an upset there.
Okay.
It is at LSU. It's a night game in Death Valley. I hate LSU, but I'm going to have to go with LSU.
Okay.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick.
I'm the only one that went rogue on this one.
Yeah, because Jackson Dart, he might struggle at night with Ole Miss. So,
okay. We've got Ohio State at Oregon. I did take Ohio State. I'm giving you guys mine first so that you kind of know where I'm at.
I'm going Ohio State. I think probably all of us will go Ohio State.
Paul?
Or maybe not.
This could be a game where Oregon rises up. It's in their stadium.
It's an Autzen. I just think Ohio State. They're too good. Ohio State.
Okay. What's funny is I wonder if they'll wear their whole gold or all yellow uniforms again. Oh my God, that. Of course, they never wear the same uniform twice, do they?
I just think Oregon is in for a surprise. Like they're Big Ten football, Oregon.
Yeah. It's like welcome to Big Ten.
Yeah.
Okay. Iowa State versus West Virginia. I did take Iowa State.
Oh, I'm going Iowa State. I don't think Iowa State loses. I'm ready for the Iowa State if they play BYU or Kansas State. One of those two. Those are the only two teams. And I don't even know if they play BYU.
They play Utah, but not BYU.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think they're going to beat Utah. BYU, they're looking nasty. They're surprising the heck out of me right now. Yeah. But and Kansas State, which I think they could beat Kansas State too. Yeah. But Kansas State's quarterback is so electric, you just never know. Iowa State can't play around with Kansas State because that quarterback for Kansas State could just go off. Yeah. So
I got this feeling that Iowa State versus Utah will be a preview of the Big 12 title game.
It might be.
I'll take the Cyclones as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Wait a minute.
What's her name, Kelvin?
Okay. Oregon dresses like LSU women's basketball team.
Right.
I missed that one.
It's Kim Mulkey.
Okay, now we go back to the Iowa State now because West Virginia is coming off a win at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's not turning out to be the team that everybody thought they would.
No.
Has the ref that missed the OPI on second TD been reprimanded yet?
No, no one's in trouble.
No.
Okay. All right. Okay. So everybody's got ISU on this one. Northwestern at Maryland. A couple of teams looking for their first Big Ten win. They're both 0-2.
What are the teams?
Northwestern and Maryland. It's at Maryland.
Fear the turtle, baby. Fear the turtle.
Okay.
Give me the fighting Brian Ferentzes.
Right. I'm going to go with Maryland as well, but Northwestern is looking their offense is starting to look better. Their defense blows, but if Maryland's offense is bad that day, Northwestern could pull it out. But Northwestern's offense is looking better. But I'm going to go Maryland.
I think they were
you
both
were
on
at the Iowa State game yesterday. So do you live down there in the Baylor area? Okay. Wisconsin at Rutgers. Oh, I took Maryland, by the way,
All
in
right.
case you guys wanted to know. Wisconsin at Rutgers.
I'm gonna go Rutgers.
I did too.
You know what? I'll take Wisconsin. Why not? You know, if I'm gonna go lone wolf, let's. This feels like a spot.
Go with the
And
Fighting
since
Badgers.
I really don't like Wisconsin, and I've got that lone wolf curse. If
Oh,
Wisconsin,
there you go. Yeah, that
The
branch
game was
really
in
isn't
Ames.
that-
God, I could have swore it looked where I thought. Never mind. I watched part of that game. I did not realize it was in Ames.
So, Hank, are you an Iowa fan? Or are you both like us? Do you like both teams like us? That's interesting.
My cousin is an alma mater Iowa Stater, and he cheers hard for the Hawkeyes, even against Iowa State.
Is Hank your cousin?
No.
Oh, okay.
Unless Hink is using a different name than my cousin's name,
Oh,
and he
okay.
is. Okay. All right. Washington State at Fresno State. I've got Washington State, and I did pick Rutgers. I think I did tell you guys that, right?
I'm going Washington State.
and it isn't Fresno State the school that has the tranny volleyball player.
No, that's San Jose.
Oh, that's San Jose. Okay, different.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm going with you guys on this one.
Which one?
Wazoo.
Wazoo.
Okay. Okay, you got it. Okay, Minnesota at UCLA. I did take Minnesota.
Hank must be an engineer. I'm going Minnesota. They're going to pound it at then their running back at Minnesota is a former wide receiver. I don't know if you guys watched that game, but their offensive game plan was really impressive. He's a hard
Minnesota?
runner. Yeah, you should watch that game. He was a hard runner, and they threw it to him probably 10 times out of the backfield. He was catching everything. He was running the ball. I'm going Minnesota. UCLA blows.
Minnesota went into the big house. They will not be intimidated by the Rose Bowl, which will probably only be half full anyway. So I'll take the Gophers.
Yeah, the way UCLA is playing, I would expect that the UCLA fans are going to quit showing up. They got better things to do than back a loser.
That's
It was ag studies. Yeah, I can't imagine ag studies at Iowa State. Final game.
Yeah, that's a shocker.
Final game. Washington at Iowa.
Do you want
I
to
am
score?
taking the Hawkeyes, even though I'm running scared of this team.
Do you want to go, Paul?
I'm going to give a score. Should I give a score?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna take the score 31-17.
That would be amazing.
That would.
Okay. All right. Either one of you can go. I don't care. I've lost track of who's doing what.
But you're the host. You have to tell us, or we're just going to talk over each other.
Okay,
Go
Jason,
ahead,
go
Paul.
for it. Jason got the pick this time.
I got Iowa 24-17. God, that 30 burger would be nice though, Dean. But yeah, I got 24-17 Iowa.
Yeah. Paul?
I was pretty close, honestly, with Hack on this one. I like the Hawks 24-13.
Okay. So
Hey, Dean called us gods today, Kelvin. Did you get that message, Paul? We were called gods.
I like
I
that.
may have deleted it and edited it before he saw it. It was supposed to be you guys, and I said you gods.
You gods. You gods.
Yeah. I wanted to point out something, and I may be looking at some funky stats, but I was trying to look at Iowa's ranking and offensive and stuff. You know, going into the game yesterday, we were at 31 points a game, right? This morning or this afternoon, it shows Iowa now at 23 points a game.
No, they're at 27.
They're at 27. Okay, so what I was looking at is not accurate. That's what I was wondering.
No, they're at 27 now.
Mm-hmm.
Their offensive yardage per game they're now at
I thought it was like 79th or something I was looking at.
53rd, actually.
Oh, 53rd. Okay.
Yeah.
Not very many teams have played two good defenses at this point in the year as Iowa has. The Ohio State defense and the Iowa State defense are both good defenses.
Well, they're both top 20 defenses.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's the thing is somebody on Twitter, this dude who graduated from Iowa, he's always like doing this analytical stuff. I should ask him what his degree is, but he went.
Is that the guy that calls himself Hawkeye Game Film?
No, he's a former player. Hawkeye Game Film is.
Yeah, he never told anybody who he is, though. I knew. Or do you know? But you don't want to say.
I'm not telling.
Tell us off the air.
Now you got me. He this dude who isn't Hawkeye Game Film or nobody. He went through all of the defenses Cade has played, and there's so many top 10 defenses on every game that Cade has played for Iowa, except for non-conference, except Iowa State. Right? He has those two patsies, but then you got Iowa State, who last year was a top 15 defense. Like, it was amazing playing Penn State, Michigan, like just going down the list of all the teams that he played against last year. It was Penn State, and then there was one, it was Iowa State and Penn State last year. And then this year, obviously, Iowa State again. Like, he just went through this analytically talking about Cade just is getting the shaft. Because he's continually playing against the top defenses with an offensive line that just struggles past one.
Yeah.
Hank, are you saying that Kluver's the Game Film? I don't think so.
By the way, I noticed
Game Film was around before Kluver was.
I don't know if there was an injury but we had Piper in there yesterday playing the offensive line, and he got absolutely destroyed.
Cade? Yeah. Then so did Colby. Colby, right. He's going to be a second-day draft pick. He'll probably go in the third or fourth round, right? He was getting the snot beat out of him on so many, and by one guy. It wasn't like he was, like he was trying to block two, like Tyler Lindenbaum was. Remember back when he was playing his senior year at Iowa.
Yeah. Let's go back. Let's go back the last 3 years that we've played top 10 teams, and we've gotten pretty much roasted in all of them. Are you guys sick of seeing that? Don't you want to be as elite as them? Don't you want to go in that game knowing that we have a 50-50 chance of winning and not a 10%? Like yesterday, I think our odds were 10% chance to win.
Well, I mean, look, again, this is we're talking about an extremely good Ohio State team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they before the season started, they had those amazing receivers last year that are now, and they said this group of receivers may be more talented than the guys that left.
No, I know that. I mean, you got Urban Meyer saying publicly on TV that this is the most talented Ohio State team that's ever been, and they might be the most talented team, top to bottom, in the country.
I mean, that's what $20 million will get you. I mean, until Iowa gets a donor, it's going to donate, $20 million to their GoFundMe. Iowa's not going to get those kind of players. Now, if we could find a way to get an offense like they have at Vanderbilt, you guys got to watch that offense. They've been doing their offensive thing all year. It's their defense that sucks, right? Mm-hmm. We're used to being in close games because of Iowa's defense, right? Vanderbilt literally has to outscore everybody. And their offense is fun to watch, but they have that quarterback from New Mexico State. I loved him at New Mexico State, and I could never understand why he was there. Well, then he transferred to Vanderbilt, which isn't a football powerhouse, but man, he's doing the same thing there that he did for New Mexico State.
I tell you whose offense was fun to watch. I watched that Navy Air Force game yesterday. Navy's offense is a lot of fun to watch. I love that triple option passing, wing T. Oh, I mean they throw all kinds of cool stuff out. You know.
No, yeah, and Army. See, they had to adjust to the NCAA rules. They can't cut block anymore, right? So they adjusted all their stuff, and it looks so cool. It's completely different than any other team. They still run the triple option, but they have to run a little bit differently because they can't put people's bodies on the ground, right?
Yeah.
If you're engaged with somebody, you can't have the other guy cut him.
Right.
So
I remember the first year that they got rid of that rule, Iowa really struggled. They had a lot of cut blocking calls against them.
Yeah.
You know, they just had a hard time breaking old habits.
Yeah. I mean, the coaches literally brought in other offensive coordinators to help teach it. Like neither team has the same offensive coordinator.
Right.
Like they went out. Army actually got the offensive coordinator from here in Nebraska.
Thank you, Hank.
But they got rid of him after 1 year, and they got this other dude they have now. But it's a similar style of offense. But yeah, no,
back
that's
why if Kirk loves to run the ball, why doesn't he do the option?
Kirk doesn't like to put the ball in compromising positions. That's the bottom line.
Yep. I believe he said one time, when you throw the ball, only one good thing happens, and there's like a million bad things that could happen.
Well, I had a coach who said that's actually a saying from the 70s and 60s that when you throw the ball, only 3 things can happen, and 2 of them are bad.
Yeah,
that's that's probably a Kirk error. My coach, who was old at the time in high school, said the same stuff. He would say, "But there's no reason to throw the ball. You throw the ball, 3 things happen, and 2 of them are bad, right? Interception, incomplete pass, or you complete it." That's what he was talking about.
Yeah, yep, I knew that.
So that's Kirk's.
Yeah,
I mean, I believe that Kirk actually said that because.
Something must have went haywire because you guys both went out at the same time, and I stayed, and now we're down from 5 to 1 in a matter of a second. So we must have lost everybody on something.
Yeah. Well, I think we're wrapping up anyway. So we've gone almost an hour and a half. I'm sure that's why people are dropping off.
Okay. Yeah. He's way too damn conservative to talk about piss poor coach on the fake punt debacle. Well, I never was so mad as I was at that. Kirk, stop it! Trust your people.
Yes, Kirk used to run a pro style. It's not so much anymore.
Yeah,
but yes, they used to be.
All right.
I mean, they're going to call it a pro style, but it's not. There isn't like a lot of. Well, this year especially, I mean, they're not running bootlegs. They're not running. It's just weird. They'll start the game off with the bootleg that works, and we'll never see it again.
Right.
Or 2 weeks ago, he started the half out and the game out with the bootleg. Remember, we talked about it.
We talked about that. They ran the exact same play.
And we never saw it on any other type of bootleg, right? It doesn't have to be the same thing. They don't do sprint outs. I mean, they're not.
Did they even try it yesterday?
I don't think so.
I don't think we felt like we could block it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it.
But, I mean, a bootleg, getting him outside the pocket, moving the pocket would have helped him. Right? Yeah. Just sitting there being a punching bag.
Right.
Because they were geared to stop KJ, right? God, I feel the bootleg would have been the perfect, like, just like on that zone read where it was wide open. It's the same deal. They all went to the running back. I feel like on the bootleg, they all would have went to the running back, and he could have got out pretty easy. So, I mean, that's just.
By the way, Hank, it didn't hurt us. Yeah, we ended up shanking a 22-yard punt, but we wound up getting a turnover. So,
that's when Castro came up with his interception.
Right. So.
Yeah, Castro saved us from near disaster.
I mean, it was a 35-7 game, right? And without those turnovers, it could have been a 50-7 game.
Same thing in the second half. Without those turnovers, the Iowa turnovers.
I
No,
was
you're
gonna say,
right.
without those 3 short field turnovers that we gave them, could have been a
But that
14-0 game or 14-7.
right. But that's where I'm at as far as that. To me, a lot of that was play calling. You kept Cade in compromising positions. Using that word, where you didn't give him
Play
any.
calling doesn't fumble snaps.
Well, did they fumble a snap?
When one of Kate's fumbles, a fumbled snap.
I don't think so. It might have been. I remember the fumble where Colby ran into him,
Okay,
and I remember him getting sacked from behind and fumbling.
maybe that's
I
what it was. I thought
But
maybe.
Hank, one of these guys can probably tell you. I could be wrong, but I do remember the Connor Colby fumble, and but I mean, there's just so many things.
Yeah.
Keeping Cade in the pocket to where he was literally a target.
Yeah. Okay, Kelvin. Yeah.
Oh
so
yes,
we
88 fell on it.
yes. Yeah. We did fumble a snap, but we recovered it. Hayden Large.
Yes,
Yeah, but we
Hayden
lost 2 though. We lost 2 fumbles, didn't we?
Right.
Right. So that means he fumbled 3 times.
Yeah.
I forgot about that one, Paul. Yeah, you're right. Large fell on it.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Well, guys, is this a good place to say good night, good day?
It is.
Okay, before we leave, don't leave yet. I want to tell everybody we actually got some viewers on right now that came back because the Pittsburgh game is in rain delay. But
yeah.
So, guys, we're not going to have a midweek show this week because I'm going to be in Iowa and I'm staying out in the country where their internet is very slow. And I thought I could probably try to plug it in and use their data internet, but they tell me that doesn't really work. So I'm not going to be able to do a show from where I'm at on those days. But I'm going to try to do a live show before the game on Saturday. So we'll stay tuned for that. I'll do it on Facebook Live. So that's where I'm at. And then, I will definitely have something set up for Sunday next week so that we can, I'll be in a hotel in Waterloo on Sunday night.
If my home is still standing on Sunday, I'll be here.
Oh, okay.
You will be the only house that's still standing. I will pray for you, and the gods will build a wall.
That's right. Love it.
Yeah. There was someplace I saw on TV news, some hospital built a huge waterproof wall around their hospital, and they showed it from one side, that the one side was completely dry, and of course the water was busting at the wall a little bit. So I don't know if you guys saw that video.
Makes sense to me. I didn't see it, but there's nothing wrong with it.
No,
I'd be doing the same stuff. Yeah, if I'm feeling okay like I am right now, yeah, I will be. Yeah, I apologize. I got a lot of message, Kelvin. I got a lot of messages about not doing a show, but I wasn't feeling well. I couldn't.
Oh, that's what it was. And so, yeah, I wondered. I kept looking for it, and I finally gave up.
Oh, yeah, you could have texted me. I would have told you.
I did text, but you didn't respond.
Well, I guess I don't remember. I was having a bad brain day. So
But I did it in the group chat. I figured that's where you would look first.
Yeah, it probably would be, but I don't remember. That's fine. But that's why I wasn't feeling very well. Yeah,
Okay. You're not dedicated. Get medicated. I like that.
I like that too.
Calvin's starting to show some humor the last couple of podcasts that we've done.
For real. Yeah.
Keep it up, Calvin. We appreciate you. All right, guys, let's get out of here. Oh, well,
I'm not gonna lie.
In a lot of places.
I'm not gonna lie. My son did tell me that I'd probably do well on gummies, and I was like, "How do you know?" And he didn't answer. He did not answer. I was like, "What do you mean?"
He ratted on himself and didn't even realize it.
But it's legal.
He was trying to look out for his dad and because he really does think that would like do whatever, calm my brain down or whatever. And yeah, he just narked on himself because he didn't answer me. I'm like, how do you know? And he's like, oh, sorry.
Well, I've heard anyway. You know.
Well, I was told that. I don't really know.
The rumor is.
The rumor is.
Yeah, I'll have to tell you guys a story the time about how I narked on myself to my dad, and I didn't mean to. Okay, guys, let's get out of here. Let's go away and stay safe, Paul. We'll leave that as our final thing.
Stay safe, Paul. See you, Hank.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone.
Guys, thank you for showing up and being here for us tonight and all the comments. Thank you for the good show.
Have
See
a
you
great
later.
night.
Before you leave, hit the like button. There's 5 or 6 of you online right now. Hit the like button. All right, let's gonna end the stream. Take care, everybody.